Right, petrol heads, gather around. Today we're talking electric, not just any electric, mind you, but Chinese electric, BYD to be precise. Ever heard of it? Well, you will. They're already giving Tesla a run for its money in China, and now they've got their sights set on Europe. See, BYD's got something cooking. They're not just building cars, they're building the future. Batteries, motors, the whole shebang. They're like the Swiss Army knife of electric cars, and they're coming in hot, ready to shake things up. But can they really crack the European market? Can they convince us Brits to ditch our petrol-powered pride and joy for a Chinese electric chariot? That's what we're here to find out. So buckle up, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more automotive adventures. This is going to be interesting. Now, the Shanghai Auto Show, it's like the Geneva Motor Show, but with more dumplings. And this year, BYD stole the show. They unveiled a lineup of cars that would make even Elon Musk spill his soy latte. We're talking sleek designs, cutting-edge tech, and range that'll make you forget all about range anxiety. They weren't messing about, no sir. They brought their A game and then some. New battery tech? Check. Autonomous driving features? Check. Cars that look like they were designed by a team of Da Vinci's? Double check. The Europeans, they were gobsmacked. Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes, all of them standing there with their jaws on the floor. See, the Chinese, they're not just playing catch-up anymore, they're setting the pace. And they're doing it bloody well. So, what does this mean for Europe? Well, it's a wake-up call, that's for sure. The European car industry has been resting on its laurels for too long. They thought they had the electric car game figured out. But then BYD came along and changed the game entirely. Now the pressure is on. European car makers are scrambling to catch up, investing billions in new technologies and models. They know they can't afford to ignore BYD. Not if they want to stay in the game. This is it, folks. The battle for the future of the automobile is on. And it's going to be electric. Will BYD be the ones to dethrone the European giants? Only time will tell. But one thing's for certain, it's going to be one hell of a ride. Right then, let's talk tech, shall we? BYD's not just throwing darts at a board here, they've got a plan. And it all starts with the battery. See, they've developed something called the Blade battery. And no, it's not what they used to fight off the Mongols. This thing is a game changer. It's a lithium iron phosphate battery, which means it's safer than your traditional lithium-ion batteries. Less likely to go up in flames like a Guy Fawkes bonfire. Plus, it's got more energy density, which means more range. We're talking about driving from London to Edinburgh on a single charge, folks, and here's the kicker, it's cheaper to produce, that's right, cheaper. So BYD can offer their cars at a more competitive price. And that, my friends, is how you disrupt a market. The Europeans, they're still fiddling with their lithium-ion batteries, while BYD's already on the next level. Section 2, the E-Platform 3.0, building the future. Now onto the platform. No, not the one at Paddington Station. I'm talking about BYD's E-Platform 3.0. Think of it as the chassis of the future. It's designed specifically for electric vehicles with integrated batteries and motors. This means more space, less weight, and improved efficiency. Imagine a car that's as spacious as a Rolls-Royce Phantom on the inside, but as nimble as a Mini Cooper on the outside. That's what this platform allows for. And it's not just about space, it's about performance too. We're talking supercar acceleration, and handling that would make a Formula One driver weak at the knees. This platform is what underpins BYD's ambition. It's the foundation upon which they're building their electric empire. It's scalable, adaptable, and frankly, bloody brilliant. The Europeans, they're still playing catch-up in this department. BYD's already thinking 2 steps ahead. Section 3. The Han Dynasty returns. Luxury with a spark. Right, let's talk cars. Specifically the BYD Han. This, my friends, is their flagship saloon. And it's a looker. Sleek, stylish, with a dragon-inspired design that'll turn heads faster than a cheetah chasing a gazelle. But it's not just a pretty face. This thing is packed with tech. We're talking about that Blade battery, of course, giving it a range that'll make you think twice about ever stopping for petrol again. And with the E-Platform 3.0 underneath, it handles like a dream. But here's the real kicker luxury. We're talking Napa leather seats, wood veneers, and a sound system that would make a symphony orchestra weep with envy. This isn't some cheap knockoff, this is the real deal. BYD's aiming straight for the heart of the European luxury car market. And you know what? They might just pull it off. Section 1, Song L, Serenading the Streets. Now, Shanghai wasn't just about tech talks and pie-in-the-sky platforms. BYD brought the goods, and one of those was the Song L. Imagine a car that's as sleek as a sports car, but as practical as an SUV. That's the Song L, a coupe-style SUV that's about as subtle as a rock concert in a library. This thing is designed to turn heads with its aggressive lines and sporty stance. It's like BYD took a Jaguar F-Pace, gave it a shot of adrenaline, and then taught it to speak Mandarin. And the best part? It's all electric, of course. Underneath that stylish exterior lies BYD's latest electric powertrain, promising blistering performance and a range that would make a long-distance runner jealous. They're not messing about, these BYD lads. They're going straight for the jugular of the European market, and the Song L is their weapon of choice. But wait, there's more. BYD knows that Europeans love their SUVs, so they brought out the big guns with the Seal U. This all-electric SUV is bigger, bolder, and more practical than a Swiss Army knife. It's like they took everything they knew about family-friendly design and injected it with a dose of electric cool. Imagine this, you're piling the kids into the back, the dog's in the boot, and you're setting off on a weekend adventure. Except this time, there's no need to stop for petrol, no guilt about your carbon footprint, and you've got more space than a loft apartment. That's the Seal U life, and frankly, it sounds rather appealing. And don't think for a minute that practicality means boring. The Seal U is still a looker with its sharp lines, futuristic LED lights, and an interior that's more akin to a luxury lounge than a car cabin. BYD's clearly not afraid to shake things up, and the Seal U is a perfect example of their ambition. Now, not everyone needs a car that can climb mountains or ferry a small army. Some of us just need something to zip around the city in. And for that, BYD has the Dolphin. This little electric hatchback is small, nippy, and about as cute as a kitten in a teacup. Think of it as the electric equivalent of a Fiat 500 or a Mini Cooper, but with a price tag that won't make your wallet cry. It's designed for city living, with its compact size, agile handling, and a range that's more than enough for your daily commute and then some. But don't let its size fool you. The Dolphin is still packed with all the latest tech, from a large touchscreen infotainment system to advanced safety features. This isn't some stripped-down city car. This is a proper electric vehicle that just happens to be small enough to fit in your pocket. Well, almost. But BYD's not just about the cars themselves. They're also pushing the boundaries in terms of technology. At the Shanghai Auto Show, they showcased their latest advancements in autonomous driving, battery management systems, and even in-car entertainment. They've developed a new generation of their Die-Link intelligent connected system, which is basically like having a smartphone on wheels. We're talking about voice control, over-the-air updates, and even the ability to use your car as a mobile power bank. It's like something out of a science fiction film, except it's here, it's real, and it's coming to a BYD near you. And then there's their commitment to sustainability. BYD isn't just building electric cars, they're building an entire ecosystem around them, from renewable energy solutions to battery recycling programs. They are taking a holistic approach to sustainable mobility, and that's something that deserves to be applauded. Right, let's talk Turkey. Volkswagen, the big cheese of the European car market, they've been taking notes. They've seen what BYD's cooking and they're not thrilled. The ID.3, their answer to the Tesla Model 3, it's a decent car, don't get me wrong, but next to the BYD, it looks about as exciting as a wet weekend in Wigan. See, Volkswagen, they're playing it safe. They're sticking to what they know, trying to electrify their existing models. But BYD, they're not afraid to tear up the rule book. They're building cars from the ground up, designed for the electric age, and that makes all the difference. Take the batteries, for example. Volkswagen's still fiddling about with lithium-ion, while BYD's got their blade battery, which is safer, cheaper and more powerful. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. The Germans, they need to up their game if they want to compete. Now, BMW, they've always prided themselves on their performance. The ultimate driving machine, that's what they call themselves. But in the electric age, that title's up for grabs. And BYD, with their E-Platform 3.0 and their supercar slaying acceleration, they're coming for the crown. BMW's i-Range, it's a good start. The iX, the i4, they're both fine cars, but they lack the spark, the innovation that BYD brings to the table. They feel like electric cars designed by a committee, whereas BYD's cars feel like they were designed by enthusiasts. And let's not forget about the price. BMW's electric cars, they're not exactly cheap. In fact, they're about as affordable as a weekend at the Ritz. BYD, on the other hand, they're offering premium features at a price that won't make your eyes water. That's a winning formula, right there. See, there's a fundamental difference between how BYD and the European car makers are approaching this electric revolution. The Europeans, they're trying to evolve. They're taking their existing models, ripping out the petrol engines and stuffing in batteries and motors. But BYD, they're starting with a clean slate. They're not constrained by the past. They're free to innovate, to experiment, to push the boundaries of what's possible with an electric car, and that's why they're so far ahead. It's like the difference between trying to turn a donkey into a racehorse and just going out and buying a thoroughbred. One's going to be a lot faster and more efficient than the other. And in the cutthroat world of the automotive industry, efficiency is key. The question is, can Europe afford to let BYD run away with the electric car crown? The European car industry, it's the backbone of their economy. Millions of jobs depend on it. But if they don't start innovating, if they don't start taking BYD seriously, they risk being left behind. This isn't just about cars, folks. This is about the future of mobility, the future of technology, the future of Europe itself. Can the old guard adapt to the new world order? Can they rise to the challenge posed by the Chinese dragon? The next few years are going to be crucial. The decisions made today will determine the shape of the automotive industry for decades to come. And right now, it's BYD that's calling the shots. The Europeans, they need to wake up and smell the battery acid because the future is electric and it's coming in fast. Now, you might think that Europe would be rolling out the red carpet for a company like BYD. After all, they're bringing jobs, investment and some bloody brilliant cars, but it's not that simple, is it? Europe, with its labyrinthine regulations and its protectionist tendencies, can be a tough nut to crack. See, the European car market, it's a bit like a private club. They like to keep things in the family, so to speak. And the thought of a Chinese company coming in and shaking things up, well, it doesn't sit well with everyone. There are tariffs, there are quotas, there are safety standards that would make your head spin. It's enough to make even the most determined CEO reach for the headache pills. But BYD, they're not easily deterred. They've faced challenges before and they've come out on top. But regulations are one thing. Consumer taste, that's a whole other kettle of fish. Europeans, they're a discerning bunch. They like their cars, like they like their coffee strong, stylish, and with a bit of a kick. Can BYD win them over? See, European car culture, it's steeped in history and heritage. They've got brands like Ferrari, Porsche, Jaguar, names that roll off the tongue like a fine wine. BYD, they're the new kids on the block. They've got to prove themselves, earn their stripes. And then there's the question of brand perception. Chinese cars, they haven't always had the best reputation in Europe. Remember those early models? Cheap, cheerful, about as reliable as a chocolate teapot. BYD, they're different, but can they convince the Europeans of that? Section 3, the charging challenge, plugging into the European grid. Right, let's talk infrastructure. Electric cars, they're only as good as the charging network that supports them. And in Europe, that network is, shall we say, a work in progress. There are different plugs, different providers, different payment systems. It's a right dog's dinner. Now, BYD, they're used to this. In China, they've built their own charging network and it's the envy of the world. But replicating that in Europe with its fragmented market and its bureaucratic hurdles, that's no mean feat. They'll need to partner with local providers, navigate the regulatory maze, and convince European drivers that they won't be stranded by the side of the road with a flat battery and a dead phone. It's a challenge, no doubt, but one that BYD is up to. Section 4. A new world order, the shifting landscape of the European car market. But here's the thing, BYD, they don't need to conquer the entire European market overnight. They just need to chip away at it bit by bit, and they're already doing that. They've got deals with ride-hailing companies, they're selling buses and trucks, they're building factories on European soil. See, the European car market, it's changing. The old guard, they're struggling to adapt. They're weighed down by legacy costs, by outdated technology, by a reluctance to embrace the electric revolution wholeheartedly. BYD, they're nimble, they're innovative, they're hungry, and in a market that's ripe for disruption, that's a powerful combination. The Europeans, they might have the history, they might have the heritage, but BYD, they've got the momentum. And in the end, momentum might just be enough to tip the scales. Now let's talk politics, shall we? Because when it comes to international business, you can't escape the political winds, and right now those winds are blowing a bit chilly between China and the West. Trade wars, sanctions, accusations flying faster than a Sterling Moss lap time. It's enough to make a diplomat break out in a cold sweat. See, some folks in Europe, they're a bit wary of China's growing economic might. They see BYD's success as a threat, a sign that the balance of power is shifting. And they're not afraid to use trade barriers and regulations to protect their own interests. BYD's walking a tightrope here. They need to reassure European governments that they're not a threat, that they're here to play by the rules. They need to build bridges, not walls, because the last thing they want is to get caught in the crossfire of a trade war. Right, let's get down to brass tacks. The electric cars, they might be greener than a field of shamrocks, but they're not exactly resource-light. Batteries, motors, all that tech wizardry, it takes a lot of raw materials to put it all together. And those materials, they're not exactly growing on trees. Lithium, cobalt, nickel, these are the ingredients in the electric car recipe. And China, they've got a bit of a head start in securing access to these resources. They've been investing in mines, in refineries, in the entire supply chain for years. Now, this puts BYD in a strong position. They've got the resources they need to build their cars while the European car makers are scrambling to catch up. But it also makes them vulnerable. Any disruption to the supply chain, whether it's political instability or natural disasters, could bring their electric dreams crashing down. Well, there you have it, petrol heads. BYD, the Chinese electric car company that's taking the world by storm. They've got the technology, they've got the ambition, and they've got the momentum. They're like a runaway train, and right now the European car market is standing right on the tracks. See, BYD's not just another car company. They're a force of nature. They're the embodiment of China's rise as a technological powerhouse. They're here to stay, and they're not going to be ignored. The Europeans, they can either adapt or get left behind. It's as simple as that. The old guard, they're starting to realize that the game has changed. They can't just rest on their laurels, churning out the same old petrol guzzlers with a new coat of paint. They need to innovate, they need to electrify, or they'll be consigned to the dustbin of history. But it's not all doom and gloom for the Europeans. They've still got time to catch up. They've got the engineering expertise, the design flair, and the brand recognition. They just need to find the will, the courage to embrace the electric revolution wholeheartedly. And let's be honest, it's not going to be easy for BYD either. They've got to navigate the political minefield, they've got to win over skeptical consumers, they've got to build a charging network from scratch. It's a daunting task, even for a company as ambitious as BYD. The road ahead is long and winding, full of twists and turns. There will be bumps along the way, there will be setbacks, but one thing's for certain, the future of the automobile is electric. And whether it's BYD or the Europeans who ultimately come out on top, one thing's for sure, it's going to be one hell of a ride.